Hey lovelies, welcome to reviews and recaps. Let's get into it. So the new season of Put a Ring on It is out. We also have a new doctor, Dr. Stacy. Honestly, I'm so glad there is a new doctor. Dr. Nicole was cool and all, but I didn't like the riddles all the time. So I'm actually excited about this new doctor. Now, if you're new to my channel, I do reviews, recaps. I do commentary on reality TV shows. I do commentary on reality TV stars in between every now and then. So please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and tap that bell for notifications. Let's get into it. So the doctor starts talking about how she knows that she's not the doctor they expected, but that she is a professional relationship expert. She talked about how her mother was married 5 times, her grandfather was married multiple times, and her dad was married multiple times as well. And that when her mother was on her deathbed, I think at the age of 56 and going through a divorce, she said that she wanted her children to know that love exists and black love exists. And I just thought that was very, very sweet. That was like a really good moment. So there were 3 couples, Dunbar and Chance. Chance is a beautiful, beautiful woman, and she has the perfect teeth ever. Like, wow. So they've been dating for like a year. They met at a rooftop bar. And he didn't tell her that he was a former NBA player. So apparently their first date was at a hospital. So she had some issues with her appendix. It had to be removed. And wow, that sounds like a traumatic experience. But apparently he carried her. It was, he was there for her and took care of her when she was going through that. So that's really sweet. Now, the part that got me is the fact that this man was saying she's not very domesticated and he wants a woman that would rub his feet, run his bath water and all of that. I'm like, okay, Hannah, righty. And then she's like, I rub your feet. I'm like, okay. And so then he's like, he just needs to help her to be able to live to her fullest potential. I'm like, I don't know, but it's rubbing me off a little wrong because I'm like, he's given me trying to groom or mold her into being something that she is not, and I don't like it. So then he starts talking to the therapist and he's like, I'm a lion, I'm a king. I'm like, okay, sir. And then so she's like, do you want a submissive woman? He's like, yes, I want her to rub my feet. I want her to run my bath water. She's like, I rub your feet. And then he's like, yeah, but she does it in her time, not when I want her to do it. I'm like, guy, chill, bro. And so then the other couples, there's Joya and Jaisha. They've been together for 2 years. They sound like they have a lot of fun together. And apparently they've traveled to 4 countries together. I was like, okay, I love a traveling couple because I love to travel myself. So I'm kind of like really excited to eventually find a man that I can travel with. But it's not about me, so let's get back into it. She wants to get married, but he wants to get married and have kids later on, as in 3 to 4 years. And then she wants to have that ASAP. So then the last couple, Ricky and Catherine, they've known each other since 2012. But then she had to move back to a different city to take care of her grandmother. And so they broke up, and because the guy, Ricky, did not want to do a long distance relationship. Anyway, so they reunited last year rather, and started dating after that. And they've moved in together and they've been living together ever since. So Ricky is the one that does not want to get married, because he's been married before. And now he doesn't want to do it again for now. He wants to take his time to make the right choice. The thing about that is, it's almost like she's being punished for him being in a previous relationship. That's crazy. Anyway, so the doctor was telling the couples that they will start going on dates. And this week is going to be the ladies going on dates. Everyone is acting all surprised. I'm like, girl, guys, you've watched the show. Like, let's all stop acting like we're just finding out that this is what the premise of the show is about. So anyways, so Chance and Dunbar were having a conversation about the fact that she'd be going on a date. So Chance is like trying to reassure Dunbar that she's going to be going to the date to explore connections, but she'll be right back. And then he's like, oh, you promise? She's like, yeah, I'll be right back. So anyways, the knock on the door, her date shows up, a tall, nice, good-looking man. And then Dumber decides to act a whole fool. So the date Philip pulls up and then Dunbar goes to the door to meet him. So I'm like, oh, this is about to be a whole mess. So then he's like, the first time you walk in a man's house, you don't bring trash inside. And Phil is like, you're calling my shoes trash? And then he's like, I don't know what they are, but you can't wear shoes into my house. And I'm like, guy, where is all this energy coming from, Dunbar? Like, you need to dial it back. It's giving acting for the cameras. So then Dunbar sits Philip down and is telling him like, oh, this is my future wife. There has to be some boundaries, blah, blah, blah. Be respectful. I'm like, okay. It's very much given what a father would say. Like initially when I saw the clip on the internet, I didn't even realize it was put a ring on it until after I'd watched the clip. I just thought, oh my god, the father is giving like such like rara energy, and then I realized it was put a ring on it, and I was like, oh my god, it's not her father. Oh, that is so embarrassing. That's terrible. But she seems to be enjoying it. Honestly, Phil seems like such a nice guy. I actually feel bad for him because I feel like there needs to be someone else that will match Domba's negative energy, because Phil isn't the one for that. So then it's like, we black people, do you mind praying with me before we leave? Two black people going out. And so he's like, oh, no worries. So they get up and Dunbar is like, baby, hold my chest to his babe, right? So she holds his heart, his chest or whatnot. And then Phil and Dunbar are holding hands praying. So he then starts saying that. And so he tells him that I hope this brother knows that the same hands that we're using to extend grace would also be used to bless his ass. I'm like, bro, first of all, you're praying, but you're acting a dang fool. Right? You're praying, you're basically saying that he could catch these hands. It's like, why are you threatening the brother for going on a date with your babe? Like, what is your issue? And then this man also had the audacity to ask Phil to bring him back some food. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So he's like, or what's the problem? You don't have money. And he's like, nah, I got it. And I'm just like, bro, you should have told him if he wanted to go get food, he needs to go get his house outside and buy the food. But Phil is definitely given a nice guy, so he didn't really match his energy with that. So then over on the other side, Joya was having a conversation with Joshua about how she's going on the date, and like just before, is there any boundaries that he would like to set before she goes on the date? And so he's like, there are no boundaries. I feel like we're going through this process. Let things happen like we happen naturally. I'm like, honey, it's given you want to be out in these streets, but okay. So then her date came in kind of with this turtleneck. I don't know. I was not feeling his outfit at all, but okay. So over at Ricky and Catherine's house, Catherine is getting ready. I don't know what the hell she's wearing. Her hair looks laid though, but that outfit is given. I'm running to the supermarket real quick. Like, I'm not here for it at all. So the guy they chose for Catherine, his name is Mark. He came in. He looking very casual. So I don't know where they're going to, but it's very much giving casual. But anyways, he's an IT recruiter, came with flowers. I'm like, that's so sweet. So anyways, Ricky answered the door and Mark was like, I hope I ain't dating you. And he's like, no, you know, you ain't dating me. I thought that was a funny little moment. So then Ricky is like, I haven't taken her out in a minute, so you take her out, do your thing, have fun. And then he's like, Mark is like, you ain't taking her out in a minute. He's like, oh, well, I take her out all the time. Like, which is it? You take her out all the time or you haven't taken her out in a minute? Like, what is it, sir? So then Catherine comes downstairs and he's like, oh, he has flowers. And then Mark decided to be a little petty Betty. He's like, when was the last time you had flowers? And then she looked over at Ricky. I thought, oh my gosh, where is this going? And so she's like, Valentine's Day. So Mark was like, oh, that was last year. And then Catherine was like, yeah. And then Ricky was like, no, that was this year. I'm like, ooh. And so Mark's shady ass was like, oh, I rounded down. I'm like, dude, you just came here to be shady. I'm here for it. It was so funny. So Phil and Chance were on their little date. And so they were talking and Chance started to open up about how she lost her mother at a really young age and how that was for her. And she had to learn how to be a woman and she's still learning. And what was interesting was that Phil stopped eating right then and there to listen to her. I'm like, Phil, that is a good man. Like, Phil, I'm single. Look for me. I'm cute. Yeah, and I have body, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. No, but seriously, enough of that. But seriously, Phil seems like a really nice guy. Like, how many people are emotionally intelligent to know that, okay, this is a serious subject. I must stop eating so I can pay full attention to what she's saying. So Phil definitely got some cool points for that. So it actually looked like Phil and Chance had a good date. Now, of course, they had like little flirtatious banter. They also like talked about Dunbar a little bit, which I thought was like quite funny. And then moving on over to the other side, Catherine was on her date with Mark. So of course they start talking, and then Catherine is like, so are you single? I'm like, girl, you right. You gotta ask like that, because like, are you single? There's someone think they're in a relationship with you. Like, you gotta be clear. So I'm here for her trying to clarify. And so Mark is like, no, he's single. Like, he goes home single. He goes home by himself, to himself. I'm like, all right, Mark, like, we get it. You're single. So they start like talking. Mark has one child and Ricky also has a child. And so Catherine starts talking about the fact that she games, and he's like, oh yeah, we married. Like, yeah, we gone right now. Like, what? You game? And that was like a cute little moment. It felt like they really connected, and like she seemed to like him. It seemed like a good old time. So I was here for that. So Mark starts talking about the fact that he goes to therapy and that helps him in his adult life. He doesn't like stress anyone because he's not putting that emotional sort of baggage on anyone else. He's like going to therapy. And that's very impressive, because some people don't understand how important therapy is, but it's actually quite good just for like overall mental health. It's good to be able to talk to someone, and you don't have to be offloading and unloading everything onto your friends, but get a paid professional to do it, or, speak to the Holy Spirit about it, of course. But I also think actually having a trained professional is also very helpful. So yeah, yay to therapy. So over to Kyle and Joa's date. So she starts asking him like, what's an ideal date for him? And he's like, oh, he's gonna cook, pack the food, and they're going to have a picnic at a park. And then Joa was saying in her confessionals that she's been saying to Joshua for a while that she wants to have a picnic and that she loves picnics. I'm like, this is why you need to be attentive to your spouse or anyone that you're dating. Because when they tell you they want something, they're telling you because they want you to do it for them. Like, I don't understand why a lot of guys are not attentive. If she says she wants this, then make it happen. Like, seriously, she wants a picnic. How literally you could go to Asda, pick up strawberries, pick up a few things, have a picnic, get a really nice cloth for you guys to sit on there with the snacks and eat. And get like, you can even bring speakers and like play really calm music and bring some wine. Like, how all of that will probably cost you £20. Like, seriously, what is wrong with people nowadays? So they start getting into like deeper conversations, and she asked if he had children. He's like, he has one biological son, but he has 4 children in total. So she's like, oh, is that like children from a previous relationship? So then he's like, those are his brothers and sisters, and that their dad passed away when he met their mom, and so he stepped in to be a father to those children. And so she was saying in her confessionals that it is something amazing for a man to take care of children that are not his, and I completely agree. And he just seems like, when he was talking about the children, his face, he was beaming with joy. He looked so excited about the fact that he has children. So so he asked her whether she had any children, and she was like, oh, she has one kid who's 11. And so it seems like they are both at very similar spaces in their lives, where they both want to sort of settle down and potentially have children and stuff like that. So yeah. So then apparently man's got some crumbs in his lips. So then she was like trying to get it for him. I was like, okay, that's a little cute. And then he gave her a kiss on her hand. I was like, okay, alrighty. And she was there beaming, full smiles and everything. I'm like, all right, girl, you're really enjoying yourself. I love it. So moving on, Philip dropped off Chance at the house. Dunbar, of course, was like already looking a bit stressed out. So this is the part that got me. Phil actually brought food back for Dunbar. That's insane. Like, Phil, you're really a nice guy. Like, I can't believe you actually bought the food. Like, that is something. Like, you're different. Yeah, you're very different from most men that I've ever heard of. Like, seriously, you actually brought the food. Like, I wonder if production were like, okay, bring the food, bring the food, bring the food as a way to sort of add to the storyline. But I just don't understand or believe. I really just can't believe that he actually brought the food. Anyways, Dumba collected the food and literally chased this man out of the house, bro. Like, he was like, well, yeah, get to going. Like, what the hell? You're so rude. And someone needs to call you out on it. I was actually very, very disappointed. You don't speak to anyone like that. Seriously. So over to the next couple. Jura got back home and was telling her man that she was cleaning off the crumbs off this guy's face. I'm like, why tell this guy anything? Like, seriously, who goes home to tell their mate that they were cleaning something off someone's face? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it just gives very uncomfortable vibes. And then also then tells him that he kissed her on the palm, on the hand. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you trying to make him angry or make him upset or make him jealous? I don't understand. Like, what is it? It's given. I don't understand why you brought it up, sis. So then the couples were back with Dr. Stacy. So she was trying to find out like how the dates went. And so Chance starts telling Dr. Stacy about what happened and then says to Dumba, tell her about the prayer. Tell her about the prayer. I'm like, stop encouraging it. But anyways, so they tell Dr. Stacy about what happened with Phil. So then Dumba is like, he has a right to choose who he lets her out of the house with. I'm like, guy, this is giving very much controlling. Like, what the hell? It's giving me Otis from last season. Like, what the hell is this? So here's the part where I knew Dr. Stacy was my girl. She's like, you're sounding like a father. I'm like, yes, that's what I said. That's what I thought initially. Like, who is this man? And then he proceeds to say, I do have the right to choose who she's allowed to spend her quality time with. I'm like, no, you do not. And who told you that you do? What the hell is going on here? So then Chance is like, oh, I don't think he's controlling at all, honestly. I'm like, girl, this ain't controlling. This ain't controlling. I don't know what you think controlling is, but this ain't controlling. Like, seriously, sister. Like, smell the coffee. What's going on? So then she's like, Dr. Stacy is like, I ain't gonna let my foot off his neck. She's like, so when you were released from your father, what happened next? I'm like, oops. I love her. She's like, oh, it came off a little immature. I'm like, the only reason you're saying that is because you feel like he's not as strong enough as Dumber. If he matched Dumber's energy, I'm sure you'd be like, oh, he's so masculine. Oh, he's so strong. I love the way he handled Dumber. But because he's like more relaxed, more reserved, you're like, nah, you ain't here for it. So then Catherine was like, yeah, like you definitely sunned him. And that was what it was given. Like, seriously, who would take a man that was sunned like that seriously in that moment? Like, come on. And so, of course, Chance is supporting her man, saying, oh, he's not controlling, he's not dominating, he wasn't disrespectful at all. Auntie, that's a disrespectful. What's your problem? That is disrespectful. So we don't understand what disrespect is anymore. And so when she then asked the room, do y'all think that's disrespect? They were like, yes, I do. Yes. People are saying yes, because it was hella disrespectful. Chance, take it from me. It was disrespectful, yeah? And so Joshua was like, you can be a warrior, but still be peaceful. At least treat people how you want to be treated. And I completely agree with that. So then Chance is like, oh, I don't mind him being a man. And then Dr. Stacey was like, is that being a man? And then she's like, yeah. Dr. Stacey was like, that's being a controlling father. I'm like, yes, you better get him. So then guess what Chance said? She's like, I think he's a king. I'm like, girl, if you don't sit your behind down, now Chance, you're a pretty girl, beautiful woman. But like, no, sis, no. And then Dr. Stacey was like, interesting. I never thought a king disrespected other men. Did you see his face? He could not take it, because the truth is a king is not disrespectful. A king is loving. A king serves. So if anyone is a king, it is Phil, honey. Phil is acting like a king. Phil was like, I got enough money to serve you dinner, honey. So there you go. That's your little crumbs, okay? And that's the king. Thank you. So then Dr. Stacey's like, do y'all want to be married 5 times? And then everyone said no. I'm like, I love how she is gathering the room, honey. She is teaching them. They better be taking notes. She's like, this is my class and you all are my sons. I'm like, all right, Dr. Stacey, you better get her. And you better get him. I love it. I love it. I feel like this is what the show has been needing. So I'm looking forward to this season, to be honest with you guys. I really enjoyed this episode, guys. I have to say, I really, really enjoyed it. And the preview of this season is looking beautiful. Is looking like it's about to be litty, and I'm so excited for it. So please give this video a thumbs up if you really enjoyed it. Please share it as well. I want people to know that I'm covering Put a Ring on it, so please share it if you can. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and support your girl, and tap that bell so you know every single time that I post. And let me know in the comment section below, what did you guys think about this episode? Was it worth it? Would you watch it again? Like, what do you guys think? Let me know, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Bye.